Think of winning the lottery for a minute. A dream come true, right? Well, sometimes it's the start of a nightmare. Today we're delving into the real and often untold stories of lottery winners whose windfall brought unexpected regrets. Andrew Jack Whitaker's story is often cited as one of the most tragic lottery winners' tales. His regret? Choosing to reveal his identity after winning a record-breaking $314.9 million Powerball jackpot in 2002. A West Virginia businessman, Whitaker opted for the lump sum, walking away with $113 million after taxes. While he had good intentions, his decision to go public set off a chain of events that drastically altered his life. Initially, Whitaker was hailed as a local hero. He generously donated millions to churches and established a foundation to provide scholarships to West Virginia students. However, the public revelation of his win also attracted unwelcome attention. He soon found himself a target for criminals, lawsuits, and individuals seeking a share of his fortune. His car was broken into multiple times, with thieves taking large sums of cash he unwisely flaunted. He faced numerous legal challenges, including a lawsuit from a casino claiming he bounced checks worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. His family life spiraled into chaos, with his granddaughter suffering from drug issues and sadly passing away, along with her boyfriend, under circumstances linked to the lottery winnings. The most heart-wrenching aspect of Whitaker's story is the loss of his granddaughter Brandy, who became addicted to drugs after he gave her a vast allowance. Her untimely loss of life, which Whitaker attributed to the lottery win, was the most devastating blow. He admitted in interviews that he wished he had torn up the ticket, a stark admission from a man who once had everything. While Whitaker's story shows the perils of fame, our next tale dives into the dangers of splurging. Let's see how Michael Carroll's millions evaporated through reckless extravagance. The story of Michael Carroll, a British lottery winner, is a classic example of how mismanagement can lead a millionaire to bankruptcy. In 2002, Carroll, a binman in Norfolk, England, won a staggering £9.7 million at the age of 19. His win was met with great fanfare, but the joy was short-lived as poor financial decisions led to his downfall. Carroll's lifestyle post-win was marked by extreme extravagance. He bought a luxurious mansion, which soon turned into a venue for endless parties and reckless behavior. His newfound wealth funded a life filled with expensive cars, elaborate vacations, and gifts for friends and family. However, it was his indulgence in destructive habits like substance abuse and gambling that accelerated the depletion of his fortune. The rapidity with which Carroll spent his millions was alarming. He was often seen wearing extravagant gold jewelry and hosting demolition derbies with expensive cars in his backyard. Despite warnings from financial advisors, Carroll continued his lavish spending, showing little regard for his future. By 2012, Carroll had completely spent his fortune. He faced multiple run-ins with the law and found himself estranged from many of his friends and family members who had once enjoyed his generosity. The mansion, once a symbol of his wealth, was sold at a significant loss due to its poor condition. Carroll ended up returning to a modest life, reportedly taking up employment in a cookie factory for a meager wage. Carroll's fall from grace is not just about the loss of wealth, but also about the emotional and personal costs that came with it. In interviews, he expressed regret over his choices, acknowledging that he could have used his winnings to secure a better future for himself and his family. Up next, let's see how Abraham Shakespeare's fortune led to heartbreaking betrayals. Winning the lottery often brings joy, but for some, like Abraham Shakespeare, it led to tragedy and broken relationships. In 2006, Shakespeare, a casual laborer from Florida, won a $30 million jackpot. His win was supposed to be a blessing, but it turned into a curse, leading to strained ties and ultimately his demise. Shakespeare's problems began when he opted for a lump sum payment of $17 million. He was generous to a fault, buying houses and cars for friends and giving money to almost anyone who asked. But with the money came people with ill intentions. His mother was sued by a coworker who falsely claimed a share in the winnings. Shakespeare's life became a series of court battles and trust issues. The most significant betrayal came from Dee Moore. She posed as someone interested in writing about Shakespeare's experience but had ulterior motives. Moore slowly took control of his finances, ultimately leading to Shakespeare's disappearance in 2009. His body was later found buried under a concrete slab in Moore's backyard. She was convicted in 2012, a tragic end for a man who only wanted to help others. Shakespeare's story highlights the dark side of sudden wealth. He lost not just money but also trust in people. His generosity was exploited, and the relationships he valued turned into sources of pain and betrayal. His fate is a grim reminder that winning the lottery can attract not just fortune seekers, but also those with more sinister motives. Shakespeare's case is an extreme example, but it's a potent warning. It shows that handling sudden wealth requires not just financial wisdom, but also caution in whom to trust. Shakespeare was totally innocent in his downfall, but it was Callie Rogers' impulsive spending spree that led her down a path of regret and financial ruin. Callie Rogers, once a teen lottery winner, experienced the highs and lows of sudden wealth. In 2003, at just 16, she won $1.9 million in the UK National Lottery. What followed was a whirlwind of spending that left her with deep regrets. Rogers' newfound wealth quickly translated into a life of luxury, but not of lasting happiness. She spent lavishly on expensive clothes, parties, and cosmetic surgeries, seeking to enhance her life and appearance. A significant portion of her fortune went towards buying gifts for family, friends, and boyfriends. However, this generosity and her lifestyle attracted the wrong crowd and led to tumultuous relationships. Her spending wasn't just limited to tangible items. Callie also faced pressure to lend money, and often she did, leading to further financial strain. Over time, the reality of her situation began to sink in. The excitement of unlimited shopping and lifestyle of a millionaire couldn't fill the void created by reckless spending. By her mid-20s, Rogers had nearly spent all her winnings. She faced financial challenges and struggled emotionally, dealing with the aftermath of her impulsive decisions. Her story took a dark turn with reports of depression and a suicide attempt, underlining the severe impact of her past choices. In interviews, Rogers expressed deep regret about her spending habits. She wished she had been more careful and thoughtful about her financial decisions. Looking back, she realized that the money could have been used in more meaningful and sustainable ways. From reckless indulgence, we move to the burden of being too generous. See how Bud Post's inability to say no turned his dream win into a relentless demand for handouts. William Bud Post's story is a telling example of how lottery winnings can attract unwanted solicitations, leading to stress and regret. In 1988, Post won $16.2 million in the Pennsylvania lottery, an event that should have marked the beginning of a carefree life. However, his win quickly turned sour as he faced an onslaught of requests for money. Post's troubles started immediately after his win. He was besieged by letters and phone calls from strangers asking for money. These requests ranged from small personal loans to large-scale investment opportunities. The constant pressure to give away money became a source of immense stress for him. The situation worsened when people he knew, including family and friends, started asking for a share of his fortune. His own brother reportedly hired a hitman to end his life, hoping to inherit some of the winnings. Post's relationship with his siblings and other relatives became strained, as they viewed him as an endless source of money. Financially, Post made some ill-advised decisions, including making hefty purchases and investing in businesses that failed. These ventures, combined with the continuous demands for money, quickly drained his winnings. Within a year, he was in debt, and his assets had to be auctioned off. Post later admitted that winning the lottery was the worst thing that ever happened to him. He was quoted saying he wished he had torn up the lottery ticket. His story is a distressing account of how sudden wealth can turn into a burden. It serves as a vivid illustration of the complexities that come with winning a large sum of money, and the importance of setting boundaries when it comes to financial requests. As Post battled the onslaught of requests, another winner, Luke Pittard, faced a different challenge. Learn how he discovered that money can't buy purpose or happiness. The story of Luke Pittard is a unique one in the world of lottery winners. After winning £1.3 million in the UK National Lottery in 2006, Pittard, like many, initially reveled in his good fortune. However, he soon discovered that the windfall brought an unexpected emptiness, along with its luxuries. Pittard, a former McDonald's worker, did what many dream of. He quit his job. The win allowed him to marry his girlfriend, go on a lavish honeymoon in the Canary Islands, and buy a new house. For a while, life was a series of joyful expenditures and experiences, but this honeymoon phase did not last long. Within 18 months, Pittard began to feel a void. The lack of a regular routine and the purpose that his job provided left him feeling aimless and unfulfilled. The excitement of spending money and enjoying leisure time waned, and a sense of purposelessness crept in. Realizing that he missed the normalcy and structure of his previous life, Pittard made a decision that was rare among lottery winners. He went back to working at McDonald's. This move was not financially motivated, but was a step towards reclaiming the sense of purpose he lost after his win. Pittard's story is a reminder that money alone does not bring fulfillment. The sudden shift from a working life to one of leisure can lead to a loss of purpose and identity. His experience highlights the importance of having a sense of purpose, something that mere wealth cannot provide. While Pittard sought purpose in his old job, Jack Whittaker's life turned into a legal battlefield. What actually happened with him? The experience of Jack Whittaker, who won a $315 million Powerball jackpot in 2002, exemplifies how sudden wealth can attract serious legal troubles and safety concerns. Whittaker's win was at the time the largest jackpot ever won by a single ticket in U.S. lottery history. However, this windfall quickly turned his life into a series of legal battles and personal losses. Before winning the lottery, Whittaker was already a successful businessman. The influx of lottery money, however, brought him into the public eye and made him a target for lawsuits and crimes. One of the most notable incidents was when thieves broke into his car and stole $545,000 in cash and checks while it was parked outside a strip club. Despite this substantial loss, Whittaker continued to carry large sums of money with him, leading to another theft of $200,000 from his car 2 years later. Whittaker's legal woes weren't limited to thefts. He was involved in several lawsuits, including a lengthy legal dispute with a casino over a gambling debt. Additionally, his family life was marred by tragedy. His granddaughter, whom he had been generous with, died under mysterious circumstances, and her boyfriend was found dead in Whittaker's home, leading to more legal scrutiny and media attention. The stress of these events took a toll on Whittaker's personal and professional life. He faced harassment, and his family was threatened, leading to a constant state of anxiety and fear for their safety. The legal challenges and safety concerns that arose from his lottery win overshadowed the joy and opportunities that the money should have brought him. Legal woes plagued Whittaker, but for Billy Bob Harrell Jr., the problems were more personal. His story tragically highlights how ignoring mental health can have dire consequences. Billy Bob Harrell Jr.'s lottery win story is a poignant reminder of how neglecting health and wellness for luxury can lead to regrettable outcomes. In 1997, Harrell, a stock boy at Home Depot, hit the jackpot, winning $31 million in the Texas lottery. This windfall seemed like a blessing, but it soon turned into a burden, overshadowing his health and personal well-being. Initially, Harrell lived the dream of every lottery winner. He quit his job and indulged in the luxuries his winnings could afford. He bought a ranch, several homes and cars, and generously shared his fortune with his family and church. However, the sudden lifestyle change and the pressures of managing his new wealth began to take a toll on his mental health. Harrell found himself overwhelmed by the demands of his newfound wealth. He struggled to say no to the endless requests for financial help. This constant pressure, combined with his lack of experience in handling such a large sum of money, led to immense stress. Harrell's mental health deteriorated, and he became increasingly isolated, grappling with the immense changes in his life. Unfortunately, Harrell's story took a tragic turn. Less than 2 years after his lottery win, he took his own life. In his final days, he expressed regret for winning the lottery, stating that he had been happier when he was living a simple life. Harrell's heartbreaking end underscores the importance of prioritizing mental health and finding a balance between enjoying newfound wealth and maintaining a healthy lifestyle. Billy Bob Harrell Jr.'s experience is a tragic example of how sudden wealth can negatively impact one's health if not managed carefully. Now, we turn to Ken Proxmire, whose investment blunders demonstrate the risks of unwise financial ventures. The story of Ken Proxmire, a Michigan machinist who won $1 million in the Michigan lottery in 1977, serves as a striking example of how unwise investment choices can lead to significant losses. Proxmire's journey from a lottery winner to filing for bankruptcy is a narrative that highlights the complexities of managing sudden wealth. Eager to capitalize on his windfall, Proxmire moved to California, where he ventured into the automobile business. He invested heavily, hoping his lottery winnings would grow exponentially. Initially, things seemed promising, and the thrill of investing in new ventures was exhilarating. However, his lack of experience in this field quickly became apparent. The business venture that once seemed like a sure path to greater wealth started to falter. The automotive industry, known for its volatility, proved to be too unpredictable for Proxmire's investments. His lack of knowledge in this domain resulted in a series of poor decisions, and he found himself facing financial difficulties. To compound his problems, Proxmire continued to live an extravagant lifestyle, assuming his investments would pay off. He bought luxury cars and a big house, not realizing his financial reserves were depleting rapidly. When his business ventures eventually failed, he was left with substantial debts. Within a few years, Proxmire had to file for bankruptcy. The millionaire lifestyle he had briefly enjoyed came to an abrupt end, and he returned to a life much like the one he had before winning the lottery. Looking back, Proxmire regretted not seeking professional financial advice and not diversifying his investments. Proxmire's financial misadventures are cautionary, but Janet Leigh's story of generosity burnout shows the emotional toll of being overly charitable with lottery winnings. Janet Leigh, a wig maker from South Korea living in St. Louis, offers a striking example of how excessive generosity can lead to financial and emotional exhaustion. In 1993, Leigh won an $18 million lottery, but her inability to refuse requests for help led to her eventual bankruptcy. Leigh's generous spirit was evident from the beginning. She donated substantial amounts to various educational programs, community services, and political organizations. Her contributions, often driven by a desire to give back to the community, were admirable but soon spiraled beyond her financial capacity. One of her most notable donations was a $1 million pledge to Washington University in St. Louis. She also gave significant amounts to the Democratic Party and various political causes, hoping to make a positive impact. However, these large donations, coupled with her personal spending and support for her extended family, quickly depleted her lottery winnings. The requests for financial assistance were relentless. Leigh found it challenging to refuse anyone who approached her for help. Her inability to say no and her desire to assist wherever possible led her down a path of financial ruin. In 2001, only 8 years after her win, Leigh filed for bankruptcy. She reported only $700 left of her lottery winnings, a stark contrast to the millions she once had. The situation was a hard blow, not only financially but also emotionally. She had hoped her lottery win would be a source of lasting joy and security, but instead found herself in a worse financial situation than before her win. These experiences remind us that winning the lottery is not just a financial event, but a life-changing moment, requiring wise decision-making and a balanced approach to wealth. For another perspective, don't miss our video, The Dark Truth of Living with a $100 million lottery jackpot, where we explained the unspoken realities of massive wealth.